Well, trying to get back to this. Something happened. Some technical difficulties happened just a few seconds ago, but I'm trying to finish the video as far as me being a father. Um, me and my kid, all of my kids, including my biological, including my stepdaughter, we have a good relationship, and I try to be the cool dad. I try to um, be there for them at any point in the night or whatever, what other time they might need me. I'll be there. Well, let me start with my oldest son. My oldest son, he's married now. He has two kids. And I hope I have been a father figure to him, whereas I can be as just as good of a father as my mom was to me, because I wasn't that close to my own father at a particular time, because the things that I've done in my life, it was mainly done by my mom was there. I wasn't afforded the things other kids had as far as having a two-parent home. Um, One of the reasons, well, I don't know, to be honest, I really don't know the reasons, but one way that I learned to be a father is through the person that I can call my father as well, but he's long as passed away, is my I call him my stepdad is Roosevelt Bozier. He took me as his own. I learned how to drive with him. Seemed like in his eyes I never could do no wrong. So he let me get away with a lot more than my brother and sister. Um, Learn how to start on, I guess, fixing cars or doing certain things with cars. Um, for as being a father figure, he treated all his kids, I would say, the same. No, he ain't really had no favorites. So that's one way. You can't necessarily have to come out and say that you're my favorite. So I'm gonna do more for you. No, that's not that. You just have to be the judge of everyone else's character. So you dealt with that individual. We dealt with those individuals on their own particular basis. Me being the father of myself now, I can see how hard it was for my mom to take care of kids, because once your child come to you and says, "Mom or Dad, I'm hungry," then you got to do what you got to do in order to, you got in order to take care of that. I don't know what it might hold as far as being respectful towards that individual, especially that person that's not your biological child. But as long as you respect them, that's all. It all that shouldn't matter. Because sooner or later you're going to have to. You're gonna have to, come to a point whereas it could be judged as far as how treat that person, how you respect that person, and so forth and so on. But overall, you know, I have five beautiful kids. Um, each one of my kids has their own personality for sure. It looks like my oldest son, of course, even though he's married, he like gaming. My next oldest son, he's into gaming. He still lived with his mom and dealing with as far as being a home care assistant to with his grandmother, which is his mother's mother. Then of course you have my daughter. She don't no longer goes to school in Columbia or Columbia area. Um, But now she's going to school down here in my hometown of Manning, as you can tell from the shirt. Then my baby boy, all of my kids love gaming, and one thing about it, I can see that my oldest son keeps in contact with all his sisters and brothers, and he trying to keep that relationship. And that's one good thing as far as being, because if I'm not there, or my daughter or whomever is scared to say anything to me or ask me anything or what have you, she goes to my oldest son. So he's like their brother and their father at the same time. So that's a good thing. It may not be a certain way that I taught my son that. It was something that was given. So his character was built around that. So that makes me feel good. So that if I can be that towards them, he can be that towards them as well. So that's one good thing about it. Love being a father. I'll never trade it for the world. But let me tell you like this: one funny moment. It was with my oldest son. Me and his mom. When I got back home from the military, I was overseas, and my mom already moved in this particular neighborhood in Manning, and the neighborhood was called the Sugar. It was Sugar Hill area of Manning, and I end up meeting her, meeting my oldest son's mother, and when this particular day, my son's mother asked me, "What do you want for Christmas?" I'm like, I mean, I really didn't want too much, kind of already, I'm not a, hard person to please, I like simple things in life. And she asked me, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I was like, I don't know why I said it. She was like, "You need to let me know." I said, "Okay." I was like, "I want a son." I don't know why I said it, but that what came out of my mouth. So, I'll let it ride. And, everybody know how, kids come about. So I ain't had to go into details with that. So I ended up taking her. So, she wasn't starved. She wasn't feeling good. And I ended up taking her to the clinic to get tested. And after I dropped her off and waited on her and came back, she came in the car, had a paper fold up. And when she folded up, she put it in my lap. Boom. She said, "Here you go." I was like, "Here I go." "What do you mean here I go?" So I went out the paper, and the paper says, "Pregnancy test positive." I was like, "What? Wait a minute now. I was joking." I said, "Hey, you better be careful what you ask for." And that's a true statement. At that point in time, that statement came to pass. Be careful what you ask for, because you are bound to get it. That's the one of the most truest statements I ever heard. So I didn't want to go into details on how everything else happened after that, but at that point, I ended up becoming a father. Then, I can end up becoming a father 4 times. And the next thing is when I had my second oldest son, I was still where I was. I was still living with my mom, and my son's mother at the time was living about 2 or 3 towns over. And I got a call. I said, "It's time. You got to meet me at the hospital." And just in the middle of the night, I was like, "Oh." And because me and my brother shared a room in the back of the house. And my mom jumped up and said, "What's that? What's going on? What's going on?" I was like, "I got the call." She said, "It's time." She said, "I'm going to, I'm going to, I'm going to." And I was already, you know, I sleeping, already sleeping in shorts, whereas I could just grab my wallet and just put it in my pants, slip on some. So I didn't care how I was dressed. Slip on some shoes, throw on a shirt, wash my face quick, like brush my teeth if I have to, or use mouthwash, or keep it moving. Um, I was going, and I ended up leaving my mom at home. But by the time I got to the hospital, good. My mom was there too. I was like, "How you know you got here?" She said, "Don't worry about it. I found my way. I came up to. I come on too, because that's my grandchild too." Then that happens. Then my son came about. Now my first son, when he was born, it seemed like the whole room lit up like it was an angel came. It wasn't no windows or nothing in that operating room or delivery room at the time, so it's almost like a whole window opened up, and the whole room lit up. And that was the first time that I became a father. Second time, I think my son then wasn't born naturally. He had to be done through a C-section, if I'm not mistaken. And when he came out, and I kissed all my kids whenever they was born. I kissed them right then and there. Um, Made me feel good. Regardless of that, I was there for the birth of all of my kids. And one thing about being there for my daughter's birth, um, I'm not saying that she wasn't born in a delivery room. I guess it was the room set up for as, hey, if you have a baby, you can have a baby here. But the reason why I said that, it wasn't a regular room because at that time, of course, the nurse was there and the doctor was there and what have you. Then my mom was there. They allowed my mom to stay in the room. My mother-in-law was in there, if I'm not mistaken, and my sister-in-law was there at the time, if I'm not mistaken. So these four individuals, well, three other individuals other than the father of the family, was able to stay in the room. And so, like, my mom was kind of joyous, and she was kind of like balled up in a chair. Besides, she didn't want to look, or she was, oh. I'm like, "You already got kids. Why are you so nervous?" She said, I don't know. So at that time, it was a joyous occasion. Everybody was there at the birth of my daughter. And it comes to my oldest son. No, my youngest son. My youngest son was there. He came about. He was. I tell you what, man. I don't know. It was different. It took a little while. It took a little while, but my oldest son all of my kids are a blessing, all of them. But it was something different about my. It was something different about my son. Um, but one thing I forgot about is when my daughter was born, or before she was born, I was content in just having those two boys I already had. But me and my daughter's mom didn't have no kids, other kids at the time. Well, she had one older, or another older daughter, but I guess being married, she wanted to have a child by her husband. And the neighborhood that we lived in, really didn't revolve with the neighbor or whatever. I don't know if you ever remember their names or not, but only thing I can remember about that is the neighbor across the hallway. I think he worked at a restaurant called, I want to say Bonefish Grill, or whatever it was. We worked there. That's the only thing I can remember. And I'm not sure if the wife worked or not. But anyway, Actually, I was content on just having those two kids, they're my two boys. But for some reason, my wife at the time ended up bringing a baby over. I was like, well, I thought we was kind of content on just keeping what we got. You had already had a daughter, already had two sons, so I was just content on doing that. But you know, maybe she was telling me that and wasn't telling me at the same time, or she tried to tell me. I just didn't pick it up. So I was like, okay, all right, well, I mean, if that's what you want. And after that, she ain't bring that baby back over there no more. So I was like, that was strange. But at the end, it was a time happened whereas she ended up going to the hospital and she told me to meet her at the hospital. And by the time I get there and I was walking in, the doctor or the nurse at the time mentioned about prenatal care. And first thing that came to my mind, I was like, I mean, you gotta be pregnant before you got prenatal care. So at that time, at that night, that particular night, I found out that she was pregnant. So, well, it undone now. So we had to move on from there. And it wasn't no back then. It wasn't no gender reveals wasn't as big as people turn to make it out to be. Sometimes now, gender reveals is ridiculous. But when I found out that I was having a girl, that was not saying that I don't love my other kids, but being a father to my other kids, but being a father to a daughter is something else, man. It's just a different relationship being a daddy's girl or what have or a father to a daughter, man. It's just different. But that one of my proudest. I should have nicknamed my daughter Little Cookie because my mom they used to call my mom Cookie or Miss Cookie. I should have nicknamed her Little Cookie or Little Beauty because she has the attitude of all of them together, So I really enjoy that. I still enjoy that. I still, oftentimes when I go drop my daughter off at her mom's, and or I go pick her up, and on the way back, sometimes I catch myself just looking over at her. I'm like, I don't care how big you get, you can still be my baby girl. So that's one good thing about being and be honest. And some fellas might not see it in my way, but you could be a father to your daughter or your son, but being a father to a daughter make you not saying you make you more of a man. It makes you turn out to be well. I ain't say that. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say you turn to be, but it'll make you more of a man. But a man, a man gonna be a man if you take your responsibility if you're boys, girls, or not. But you tend to have a different attitude because you trying to be that protector, just like a mama bear trying to be a protector of their cubs. Then a father to be the same way as why to being a father to a daughter. So it's just different. It's just different, man. Maybe later on I can explain how it's different, but right now it's just different. Then right now, you know, I have grandkids now, so I can't wait to see how they grow up and if they spend time with their G-Pa. I ain't say granddad, because granddad make it sound like you are old. We know I'm getting older, but I'm not old yet, But being a father is such a joyous thing, man. So such I want to change it for the world.